It's time to sit back, relax, and listen to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life will inspire, motivate, and empower you. Live your best life now. Listen, learn, think, and decide. Change your attitude, change your life. And now, here's your host, Joan Herman.
Welcome to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. I'm Joan Herman. Thanks for tuning in. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life brings you interviews with some of the most inspirational and influential people in the world. It's our goal to educate and empower you so you can live your best life now. Thank you for taking time for yourself, and thank you for letting us be a part of your life. We have another great show for you today. Are you looking to stop hot flashes, lose weight, sleep better, and just start feeling more like yourself? Today's guest, Marcelle Pick, is passionate about transforming the way women experience healthcare through an integrative approach. Marcelle is co-founder of the renowned Women-to-Women Healthcare Center and was one of the first to be certified as a functional medicine practitioner. She is author of several books, including The Core Balanced Diet, Is It Me or My Hormones, and Is It Me or My Adrenals? Welcome, Marcelle. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here.
Well, we're really happy to have you here because your work is based in functional medicine. And if you wouldn't mind, just give us a 101. What is functional medicine, and why is this the way that you've chosen to practice medicine?
Sure. So the way that medicine is now in the usual settings, what happens is you go in, you get a diagnosis, and then generally you get oftentimes medication for that problem. The problem with that is that it oftentimes doesn't get people better, especially if you stop the medication. And what I'm interested in looking at is what is the cause of the cause? Everybody's a little bit different. For example, in menopause, the symptoms that you have might be the same, but the reason that you have them might be different. So functional medicine's taken on a whole life of its own because so many people are coming in with complaints that are not getting better. And when you really dig deep and you really start to understand, and we're using biochemistry, this is not New Age medicine, we're starting to understand what do we need to do to intervene. And we can oftentimes intervene with nutrition and nutrients to have game-changing effects with regards to weight, hormones, digestive issues, adrenal issues, everything.
Well, you just mentioned weight, and I want to begin there because as a middle-aged woman, as we age, my friends and I, and so many women like me, it just seems like everything we used to do to maintain our weight no longer works. So what is it that's going on in a woman's body as we age that makes it difficult to keep the weight off?
Well, that is the million-dollar question. So what I've come to understand, and I really have spent my life looking at it for my own personal reasons as well as for those of my patients, is that everybody's a little bit different. There are some kind of general patterns that you see. One is that in perimenopause, estrogen comes down, progesterone oftentimes plummets, so there's a hormonal dysregulation. We oftentimes see that as estrogen goes down, estrogen is an anti-inflammatory. So as that happens, we see symptoms we never had before, for example, joint pain or joint discomfort. We have more anxiety than we've ever had before. People don't normally have anxiety as a symptom, and then all of a sudden they might have had a little bit, but in perimenopause they're like, oh my gosh, it's terrible. They also become a little bit more insulin resistant, I call that. Insulin goes up before our blood sugars do. So that means those particular people really need to cut back on carbohydrates. Some other people need to do more of a Mediterranean diet. So the beauty of understanding this is, number one, I'm here to tell you, you absolutely don't have to gain 5 pounds every year and have the middle age spread. And number two, we just need to dig a little deeper for that individual person. And oftentimes it is related to adrenals. So let me explain why. Adrenals are incredibly important. We can't live without them. But for all of us, many of women in particular are multitasking. We have elderly parents, we have a job, we have children, we have friends, we have partners, we have relationships, and we're trying to manage it all really well. But at some point, the adrenals can't do it anymore. And what happens then is cholesterol normally makes our sex hormones. If we have too much stress, what happens is it goes to make cortisol at the expense of the hormones. And insulin's a very important hormone, and it's more important than our sex hormones, and that's affected by the food that we eat. So if we're doing a lot of processed foods or a lot of carbohydrates, what happens then is we have high levels of cortisol, and that is more inflammation. It causes adrenals to really be problematic, which causes our hormones to be dysregulated. It affects our hunger, which has to do with ghrelin and leptin. And it has also to do with how much inflammation we have in our body. And if our hormones are in balance, we gain weight in our middle and our hips. And if our adrenals are in balance, that's where we gain weight as well. So with a functional medicine perspective, by treating the problem, that's when we start to notice that, oh, the weight starts to come off. There is no one-size-fits-all. What kind of dietary approach works for you, Joan, might not work for me. So it's really starting to figure that out. And I do genetic testing to figure out genetically what food plan actually works best for you as a person.
Marcelle, is exercise and cutting back on calories really the best way to lose weight, or does the kind of food that we eat make the difference?
The kind of food that we eat makes a difference. There have been enough studies now that we've looked at calories in, calories out, and, many of the diet programs around the country are very much connected to that concept. We'll cut back on your calories, increase your exercise, and you're going to lose weight. Mm-hmm. That's true for someone that eats 4,000 calories a day. I mean, as they start to cut back, of course they're going to lose weight. But trust me, there are so many women that are eating 1,200 calories a day and exercising an hour a day that are not losing weight. So it's really about what foods, perhaps, have they become sensitive to. Sometimes I've had just my patients stop gluten or dairy, and they've lost 15 or 20 pounds. For some other people, it might be some foods that they're reacting to, because the digestive system is inherently important in this whole equation. What's really interesting, and I don't know if you know this or not, but we're starting to see that for some people that have something called a fecal transplant, I know that sounds really horrible, but we use it for some children that have autism. We change the microbiome of the gut by using someone's healthy fecal material and implanting it into this person. And what we've seen is that people's weight has gone down dramatically. All we did was change the microbiome. And remember that we're mostly bacteria, as terrible as that sounds. Mm-hmm. And they're now doing a study in Boston looking at obese patients. Only having fecal transplants is that enough of a difference to change the flora of the gut, which also helps with weight. And that study will be probably published next year.
Marcelle, for people that are reading your books or listening to this show, and they're learning about the different way to really take on healing of the issues that they have going on in their life, when they go to a quote-unquote traditional doctor and they bring this information into the doctor's office, and he or she may not believe or buy what they're telling them, and they quickly want to prescribe something. What can that patient do to take better control of his or her health? What can they say to the doctor?
It's a great question. So many times what is frustrating for my patients is they've been to, let's kind of use a gastroenterologist as an example, and they've had the testing done, the colonoscopy was negative, everything was negative, and they still complain of having digestive issues, in particular bloating. They feel full when they've only had a small amount to eat. They're constipated, or they have a lot of gas. And they're being told there's nothing wrong, or that they have irritable bowel syndrome, which is kind of an irritation of the bowel. And my response to that is, well, you don't say, I already knew I had an irritated bowel, but why? So the most powerful thing they can do is start to educate themselves and really learn about what some of the things that they can do. And what I urge people to do in a very loving way, not nastily, is when they are able to succeed and get their body really healed, is to write a lovely letter back saying you might want to consider kind of looking at this a little bit more deeply, because science, unfortunately, is there, but medicine takes about 20 to 30 years, if not longer, to catch up.
Now, Marcelle, there is a place in our life for pharmaceuticals. They do save lives.
Oh, absolutely. Hands down.
But with that said, I think that there are certain conditions that we can heal on our own. And from the years of doing this type of work and working with patients, what are some of the things that you think we can do that can have an impact and perhaps get us off some of those medications?
It's a great question, Joan, because what I can tell you is that if you start to understand the power of food, as silly as that sounds, it can make a dramatic difference. Simply cutting or stopping sugar and stopping gluten for many, many people, those two changes in and of themselves creates weight loss, happiness, because we also know now more than we've ever known before that the digestive system affects how we feel and the happiness that we have, because serotonin is produced in the gut. And by changing the food that you eat, it can impact every single organ system actually very quickly. Stopping processed foods, being mindful of, not using a microwave with plastic. If you're going to be using it, put a ceramic dish in the refrigerator. In the microwave. All of those things mount up to making a big difference. But if you said to me, Marcelle, you can only do one thing with this person, what would it be? And it would be to change your diet. Decrease the processed foods, stop sugar, have more vegetables, more color on your plate. Have it look beautiful, like a work of art. That would be the name of the game that increases, antioxidants in your food. And we can all do it. No matter where we shop, we can all do it because we have to eat every day.
I'm speaking with Marcelle Pick. If you would like to get more information about Marcelle and her work, you can visit her website, marcellepick.com. Marcelle, in our final moments, what would you like to leave our listeners with?
Almost all problems that my patients have can be remedied. The symptoms can go away. We can really transform our lives at any stage of our life, and women do not have to be overweight. They don't have to be tired. They can sleep through the night. They can have energy. They don't have to have PMS. All of these hormonal issues can be rectified, but you need to work with someone that understands how to make those changes, some of which include many lifestyle changes of your own, including how you think. As you said, as we think, so goes our life. There's so much connection with that as well.
Marcelle, thank you so much for being here with us today and for providing some strategies that really can help us take control of our health and well-being. As you said, we are more powerful than we know, and I think it's time that we take back our health.
Absolutely, could not agree with you more.
This is Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thank you for joining us. I hope you found the show informative. At Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life, we believe that knowledge is power. Take what you've learned, apply it, and live your best life now. Remember that the information provided are the opinions of our guests and should never replace the advice of a professional who knows your personal situation. If you'd like more information, visit our website, CYACYL.com. While on the site, listen to past shows on demand, read our digital magazine, take part in the book club, check out our team, and be sure to follow the show on social media. Until next time, this is Joan Herman. Thanks for tuning in.